Hi, I'm here at Aura in Portland for the election night party with Chellie Pingree, who is the incumbent Democrat in Maine's 1st Congressional District. Thanks for taking a couple minutes with us,
Sure.
Chellie. How are you feeling about, your expectations for tonight? None of the results are really coming in yet, maybe a
Right.
couple of small towns, that type of thing. Sort of, how are you feeling as the night gets underway?
We're hopeful that it'll go well, and I hope the voters will give me a chance to go back and serve them again, but you don't know until the polls close, until the votes are counted. But we've worked really hard, and we've gotten a good response out there, so I'm very hopeful.
So that's a good segue. So on the campaign trail, you talked to a lot of people in your travels. What types of messages were they telling you about what they were hopeful for in this next 2 years?
I hear so many people are really upset with the president, and it's not just Democrats. I hear from independents and Republicans, a lot of Republicans who say, this isn't my Republican Party, and they're just, they're just angry with how he is viewed around the world, how he, talks on Twitter, his policies around healthcare and education and the environment. So I feel like that's the number one thing people would like to see a check on the president. And then healthcare is probably the topic people bring up the most. They're just, they just want us to fix the system, get it right. They're worried about Medicare and Social Security and what could happen to them. So those are the majority of things that I hear about.
So I guess then, what are your priorities as you consider going back to Congress again if you were to win tonight? What are a couple of things that you really want to focus on for the next session?
Well, if we're in the majority and we have a chance to do a few things with healthcare, make sure we protect people with pre-existing conditions, do the things that need to be done to help bring down the cost of prescription drugs. That would be my number one priority. Environmental issues. I do think in the state of Maine, where we're particularly aware of how fast the ocean is warming and the impact it could have on our fishermen, I really think we have to convince our colleagues that we can't put our head in the sand. We got to do something about it. And then I serve on the committees around agriculture, so I hope we can continue to do more to support small to medium-sized farmers, work on the Farm Bill, which has been stalled. There's no end to the work to do.
Are there a couple of races that you're keeping a close eye on around the country or even in the state of Maine that obviously you're concerned about your own race and you want to see those results come in, but what are a couple of other races that you're watching closely?
Well, I would say the governor's race. I just think Janet Mills will make a great governor, and I hope this is her night. I hope it's the night we elect a Democratic governor in the state of Maine and reverse some of the policies that I don't believe have been going in the right direction. And then across the country, I've got a lot of colleagues who are up for election. And then there are a lot of wonderful candidates out there who worked really hard. Half of the Democratic candidates running for the House of Representatives are female, and many of them have served in the military. They're small business owners, their moms, their grandmothers. I just think it would be great if some of them win.
What are some of the things you mentioned that you heard from some voters about? They were telling you that they were hoping that Congress could be a check on the president this coming term. You've said that in some of the debates as well. What are a couple of things that the president has done that, in your opinion, are particularly important to sort of fight back against?
Well, on the environmental front, rolling back emission standards, mercury standards, clean air standards. We're the tailpipe of the country, so bad air comes here, it affects kids here, childhood asthma. There's just no good argument for going backwards on the environmental laws we've already passed that we've already passed, and then him, not doing what he should be doing to make sure we're more safe and secure in the future. Obviously, on the Affordable Care Act, he's done everything he can to sabotage it in the background, trying to cut subsidies. Right now, we're in open enrollment. But, he's not having any advertising. People don't know what to do. There aren't as many navigators to help you work your way through the system. I just think that's terrible to be just sort of decimating the system, when people need it so desperately. Education, he's very much in favor of privatizing education, and I certainly don't agree with that. We should be doing much more to help relieve student loan debt. And obviously the big tax cuts. They're, jacking up the deficit, and most of them didn't help the middle class in Maine. They're designed to help corporations and wealthy individuals. and that's just not a lot of good for Maine. So there's plenty of work to do.
How important is it, in your opinion, for the Democrats to take control of the House? Do you think that you can still be a check on the president without taking control of the House, or is that an important step?
We will continue to do whatever we can do, and we certainly have to a certain extent. I mean, I'm on the committee that oversight of Scott Pruitt, he was a terrible appointment to head the EPA, and we held public hearings. We made some of the information public about his ethics violations and also his close relationship with the oil and gas industry. So I think there are plenty of things you can do. It's just a little bit better if you can have a committee hearing where you set the agenda and you control the investigations that need to be done.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes with me,
thank
Chellie.
you.
I appreciate it.
Be an interesting night.